Dorothy Whitman. I volunteer at the Galesville Heritage Society, and this is the Galesville Heritage Museum, which houses a collection of historical data, artifacts, oral histories for Galesville and the surrounding South County area.
My name is Peggy and I am a volunteer and member of the Deale Area Historical Society. We maintain and support the Deale Museum. Basically, these boats are pictures of what life was like in Deale. These people grew up here. They were watermen. They worked on the water. They oystered, they crabbed, they fished. They were buy boats and bug eyes and skipjacks and crab boats, and all of them were wood, and that's how these people made a living here. And it must have been a grand place to be when the creek was full of wooden boats and coming and going every morning at 4 o'clock, and they worked all day and didn't come in until dark. The Galesville Historical Society and the Deale Area Historical Society had a really special event at the Galesville Memorial Hall. We had the boat model builders of South County, and it brought together over 50 great model boats, their builders, their families, and it was just an event that will never, ever be done again, because it's just a thing of the past and it's an era that's just about gone.
Peggy has such a passion for wooden boats and boat model building that it was just an easy event to do. We had a great turnout. Boat models were amazing. It was just, we were both thrilled about what we saw, what the builders brought into it. They were wonderful. They wanted to come.
The builders were there and they were talking with the folks that came to the tables, and we had all sorts of boats that were from this area: skipjacks, bug eyes, cruisers, race boats. You name it, it was there, and these builders were there and got to speak to the people that came, and it was a well-attended event.
I just loved seeing everybody there, the interaction, and the boats were just super. That, hey, in South County, these guys are doing great things. They were incredible. Mr. Marshalls are incredible, the details. Norman Gross, he just put so much detail. He made water, he had little people, he had somebody was crabbing, they were on the dock. I mean, it was just the detail that he did. And the other boat models were the same thing. All the detail they put into it, and the thought, and then the love that they have for what they're doing certainly came through in everything.
The event was a once-in-a-lifetime event. The models are still around, and you're welcome to come and see them and visit them. I'd love to think that we could get together that many again, and perhaps we will, but for the time being, you can certainly see a lot of them at Galesville, at the many museums that are there, as well as the Deale Historical Society's museum in Deale.
This boat model here in Galesville in our museum is called the Emma Durham because Mr. Tom Costin built that. He was actually one of our boat model builders at the exhibit, and it's named the Emma Durham for his mother-in-law. The Emma Giles is important to Galesville because it brought goods and services and people on vacation to Galesville from Baltimore. It traveled around from Annapolis to Shadyside to Cumberstone to Galesville, and it was very important commerce. There was no roads, there were no trucks, this is the way people got back and forth, how goods and services came, and it also brought a lot of visitors.
Behind me is a large-scale model of the Chesapeake ram 11J Marvel, which was sunk in a hurricane in Herring Bay in 1955. It was a really significant event in the history of Deale. And there again, Norman Marshall built this model. It's the first time people had been killed, actually. There was 14 people lost in that storm. This had been a traveling ram that was basically used for hauling things, and then it was converted to a tour boat, and probably never should have been because of its condition. Thank God we have the model in back of us, though, to remind us what it looked like, and it also reminds us that the Coast Guard made some really important decisions on safety on boats after this boat went down. To build these boats and to remember what they looked like, what they did, about the people that worked on them, and how the people in South County made a living working on these boats. I just would have loved to have been here when that went on.
And it's a rich, wonderful history, and I think it's important that people understand how these areas came, how they survived. We're lucky to be here, and we're here because of the generations that laid the groundwork for us, did all the work, and we're just capitalizing on it.
And it's so important that these younger people know what it was like back then and what hard work really was. And Four Rivers has put together these museums and gives us a channel to meet with each other and present all these different historical significant items to the younger generations. And I'm glad it's there, and I hope that people will take advantage of it.